Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my Drytron deck profile for July 2021, I guess almost August at this point. I won 4 remote dual OTS qualifiers, first place in all of them, got the Ecclesia mat. I got second place in another one that I think was like 5 rounds, but we don't count that one, right? Something like that. But you know, we did really well with this list. I guess it's not exactly the same list. We changed it like occasionally a little bit, but this is the current list I'm playing. I think that it's actually a really good list, so we're gonna go through it. So 3 alpha, 3 zeta, 3 gamma, 2 delta. So I've decided on 11 for Drytron names. I just felt like in games 2 and 3, you can kind of side a gamma out if you need, or maybe side a delta out, just depending on the scenario. They're not like amazing to draw like double gamma, like that's like kind of the worst to see, or is drawing double delta, which actually happened like once. But other than that, like seeing the rest of them are pretty great, so I don't think I would change this at all. I think the 11 is actually really nice. Then moving on, obviously 3 copies of Diviner, 3 copies of Herald of the Orange Light, and 2 copies of Ava. These are just great. Sometimes I would search the Ava off of Ben 10, even if I didn't have the orange light in hand. And that's because we're playing Dragoons. So basically what I would do is I would go something like normal Diviner, send Herald of the Arclight, search Ben 10, and then I would like use a Drytron, send the Ben 10, search Ava, and then just make Dragoon if I didn't have like a second Drytron, or if I got like hand trap with like Ash or something like that. And then I would have an Ava that had 2 fairies engraved, so I would discard for Dragoon the Ava, and then search another negate. So it was like really good actually. So yeah, spoilers by the way, we're playing Dragoon, so if you don't like it, that's okay. I understand. For hand traps, we're only on 3 Ash in the main deck. I think this was fine. Nothing I'd really want to say about that. I think that it was just a good card. Just having an extra interruption sometimes is really nice. This can really be any hand trap you want. I just decided on Ash because there was nothing else. If you really wanted, you could just cut this from the list entirely because it is 43 cards. But we are playing the Dragoon package, so I didn't want to draw it as often. I'd rather see this than a brick. So yeah, I guess that's just my thought process on it. For rituals, we're playing an Ultimateness, a Ben 10, and an Idaten. We cut Natasha actually from the last list I played. So in the 3 of them, I played Natasha. Just felt kind of like awkward in some hands. It was just like, this card isn't like super necessary. There was one game though, I will admit that I missed it, but it didn't matter. I still won the game anyways just because of Dragoon. Like Dragoon is just so powerful. But I just like ran through all my rituals. I think I had an Idaten and Ultimateness in hand and this engrave. And then I like alpha like get rid of this and I tried to search and I was like, wait, I don't have any more rituals in deck. So that's like the only time I missed Natasha because it was just going to be an extra card advantage in hand. But it's like super good against Striker, so it's just like one of those cards that it's like, if you're playing it, I understand why, just because like its power against like Striker is just so powerful, but like everything else, it's just kind of like alright. Plus it doesn't even come up against Striker like all that often, so. Then for other Drytron names, I guess, we're playing 3 Nova and then a Fafnir, which is basically the 4th copy of Nova. It's a great card. There was some times where I actually needed to search the ritual spell, and it actually came up like once or twice, and it was great. Yeah. Then we have 3 copies of Cyber Emergency and 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity and 1 copy of Foolish Burial. So even more consistency. So that should be 10 in total if you count the Fafnirs and Novas. So I think it's actually, yeah, 10. 6 here, 4 there, 10. So we're playing 21 Drytron names, which is pretty nuts. Then for other spells, we're playing 1 copy of Called By, 3 copies of Droplets, and obviously we're playing 1 copy of Medioness. You could play 2, but I don't think it's necessary. I kind of hate seeing this in my opening hand. I definitely want to search it every time off of Zeta, so I understand why people play 2. I just don't think it's necessary. It got DD crowed once, but I just made Dragoon and it carried, so like it just doesn't matter. So yeah. Then for the rest of the deck, obviously the last 3 cards is the Dragoon package. So you don't really want to see this. It's come very often where you've actually drawn like Red Ice Fusion, and sometimes you can just win a game off of just a Red Ice Fusion. You just activate it and then like back it up with hand traps like Ash or something like that, and then you're like, alright, GG, and you go to the next game and they don't know what you're playing. But yeah, like I said, honorary mentions, you could play Natasha if you want. I'm not playing it in my current list, but if you want to, you can play Natasha and I wouldn't be upset over it. We also cut the Draconids guy. The reason we cut it is because Dragoon does the exact same thing. Like, basically, if you get drolled, you try to go for that, but, like, in some hands you just can't, like, even if you get drolled. Whereas Dragoon, it's, like, 99% of the time you can just, like, you know, like, activate Nova, summon a, like, Herald, Link for Dragoon, you know? Link for Verte, Link for Dragoon. You know what I mean? So, yeah, moving on into the extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of Fafnir and a Beatrice. It's really great. Nothing really to say about that. We're playing Downard and a Zeus. I was playing the Lyrilisk, but I ended up cutting her in this version, but you could play the Lyrilisk. It doesn't really matter. Like, the 14th card in this extra deck is just completely irreplaceable. You could just play, like, literally anything. So cards to send off of the Diviner. You have 2 Arclight and the Entis. The second Arclight, like, comes up like once every like 20 games maybe. You could play it. It's just like kind of a win more card, honestly. Like, I don't think it's necessary at all. So this slot in the extra deck can literally be anything, so I'm gonna put that off to the side. Like, literally you can put anything in this slot. You can put in the Chaos Ruler guy or like whatever you want. For links, we're playing Boral Sword, Phoenix, IP, Unicorn, Link Revo. Nothing to say about these. They're all just good. Boral Sword doesn't come up as often since we're not playing the Natasha, so I guess like you could switch this for access code, but like it just doesn't matter. Like, Boral Sword does like kill your opponent, I guess, more often than the access code does. Sometimes like access code can only put in like 73 damage, like Herald plus the other one. So Boral Sword does kill them. It's exactly 8,000 with that same combo. So just something to think about. And then lastly, we're playing the Dragoon Package. Alright, moving on into the side deck. We have 2 Phantasme. This card's actually pretty nuts against Tri-Brigade, or just like any Link deck, like Striker. You can just like summon this and then like fix your hand. At least puts another monster on board, which can be really important because you can link off the Phantasme plus something for Dragoon. So it's really nice, plus Dragoon's like so good against Striker. 2 copies of Contact C, so we played this because I was playing against a bunch of Tri-Brigade, and I wanted to cut something, so I think I cut a Phantasme, and I cut one of the next card. I cut a Ghost Bell. Since I was originally playing 3 and 3, I decided to go for a 2, 2, and 2, because all of these cards are like the same against Tri-Brigade, so I just decided to put them all in. Contact C just ends their turn, though, and I just wanted the variety, so if I ended up drawing like 3 here, this wasn't a second Ghost Bell or a second Phantasme. It was something that was actually useful, even in like brick hands, to like completely stop them. So that was the thought process. I think it worked actually like really well. I sided this against Prank Kids. He normal summoned this. GG. He literally couldn't do anything, and yeah, it was great. I just Zeused him. He had like double judgment, but I still like killed him through it. It was great. Then we are playing 3 copies of Droll. For the mirror match, this is like the only card that comes in. I played against the mirror match once today, but I set full board game 1. Game 2, well, they scooped immediately. In game 2, they went first. They set up a pretty good board, but I broke through it, and I never sided in Droll. So yeah, I don't think this has ever seen my main deck at all. I would just kill like 2 Drytron players, like regardless. It was great. They would either like scoop game 1 and then like game 2 they'd brick, or like they'd make their board and I just droplet them and anyways and I'd still win. So it didn't matter. It was great. Next we're playing 2 copies of Twin and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. It's just great cards. Nothing to say about those. And then finally, I started losing to Striker a bunch. So I finally put in stuff to actually play against them. Imperial Order and 2 copies of Anti-Spell. There's a variant of this deck if you want. I might show the case of the combo at some point, but if you put in Nightmare Griffin, you can actually Beatrice send one of these, summon Nightmare Griffin, and then set it to your field. I don't think that's very good against Striker, because, like, sure, you can have, like, Anti-Spell, but if they have, like, literally any hand trap, you just can't do that, and they'll just end on Dragoon anyways, so it's, like, whatever. I guess in that same combo, like, typically how it would work, just like a normal. I'll just show you really quick. This would be like your Nightmare Griffin, and then you'd have something like a Link Reba. You'd use the effect to set this, and then you just link these for Verte, and then you'd end on Dragoon as well. So, but you have to play against no hand traps, which is extremely rare for Striker to draw 0 hand traps. But you would end on Dragoon plus Anti-Spell, which is like impossible for Striker to break. Like they literally just lose. But it's just, the problem is that they play so many hand traps, I didn't justify it. So I don't think it's worth it. But I mean, hey, if any of you guys like are interested in it, let me know, and I might post like a follow-up video with that variant or something like that. So yeah, but that's gonna do it for today's video. Crazy deck, Drytron, first place 4 times. Yeah, I'm very proud. I did really good. I misplayed sometimes, honestly. Sometimes forgot my Bento and Surge. Sometimes I, Forbidden Droplet, forgot to send my Ibly that my opponent gave me. Forgot to do that, but regardless, we still ended up on top. So yeah, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.